नमस्कार. आमगेल माय भाषा कोंकणी आमी मस्त मोग करताची. तांतू कसले अतिशय ना. जाल्यार एक विदेशी व्यक्तीनं आमगेल माय भाषा कोंकणीक मस्त मोग करतना आमकां आनंद जाता आनी त्या व्यक्ती विशयार आमकां मस्त मोग येता आनी तागेल विशयार आमकां कुतूहल येता. आज ही आमगेल स्टुडियोंतू तसले एक व्यक्ती, एक विशिष्ट व्यक्ती आमगेलो आसा. तागेल नांव आसा श्री जिनो डि क्लेमेंटे. श्री जिनो तुका ह्या स्टुडियोक हांव मस्त स्वागत करता आसा. भारी खूश जाता तुगेले वट्टू आमकां उलोवच्याक. आमकां तुगेल विशयारी थोडें सांग.
Master, thanks, Guru. I'm really pleased to be here today. How are Gino Di Clemente? London Doknu Yeta, Miguel Baila Rupa, Rupa Kamat, Tigil Gava Karkala, wonderful place. Amka Wadika Jaunu, 33 years Jale. Right now, Atta Hawa retired Jalo. Jalari, Masta Warsaka, Hawa International Tax Director Ashilo, KPMG, Ani PricewaterhouseCoopers, Ani General Electric Kamkele. Konkani culture and Ani Konkani Basa, Maka Masta interest Ani Pritiasa. Jalnimiti Ata Maka Masta Agatiasa Konkani fluently Ulochaka. And I guess that's why we're here today.
So that's really wonderful. Tugele Konkani mast like us ani chandri tiri amka.
Of course.
Tu ulaita ram khushi jata.
Baderchi.
Right. Taje accent pura like us tugele Konkani che. Atta aw tuka अनेक प्रश्न मिळता. तू तुगेल भाषेन, तुगेल मातृभाषेन आमकां उत्तर दी. तुका कोंकणी वैरी आनी भारता वैरी तुका मोग इत्याक आयलो.
Right.
So in your mother tongue you can speak.
Yes. Well, as you can maybe guess from my name, my background is Italian. Miei genitori sono italiani. Noi siamo di Napoli, vicino Roma. Io abito in Italia da piccolo, ma per me è molto importante adesso, con una sposata di Konkani, parlare bene Konkani quando sono qui in India. Così è molto piacere per me essere con tutti voi nella società di Konkani, e la mia ambizione è di parlare forte con la padronanza della lingua Konkani.
Thank you so much.
A few words in my
it's
native
wonderful.
language.
It's wonderful to hear that sound of your native language.
Pleasure.
And we are equally, respected by the way you love Konkani, and we would like to show that same respect to your mother tongue as well. That's why I asked you, I requested you to speak in your language.
It's not often I get to speak it these days living in London.
How many other languages do you speak?
Well, I guess I was at university. Actually, I studied languages. I graduated in French and Spanish.
Wow.
And I was always lucky that throughout my career I could use French and Spanish professionally. And Portuguese is another language which is very similar to Spanish and Italian. And once again at General Electric, I had responsibility for the Portuguese-speaking parts of Africa, Mozambique, Angola, Brazil as well. So I guess I've got Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese. I'm doing my best to get to a certain level of proficiency with Konkani, and there was a time when, crazy as it may seem, being in India, I thought Hindi would be the most useful language of all.
Wow, you speak Hindi as well.
Well, okay. Let me say that मेरे लिए हिंदी बोलना और समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि मेरी पत्नी पूरा का परिवार इंडिया में रहते हैं. But that being said, what was the use when I'm here? And I much prefer to spend my quality time now learning Konkani.
Gino, why it is very important for you to learn Konkani, and why it becomes essential for your life at this point of time? To start learning Konkani?
On the simplistic term, now that I'm retired, I've got plenty of time to focus on my passion, which is Konkani. On a cultural level, if you are an outsider looking in, you may well enjoy and experience the culture, but there's nothing better than being proficient in the language so that you can effectively elevate your enjoyment, your experience of the people and their culture and their rituals and their social gatherings. For many years, 33 years, I've been married to Rupa. I've obviously been looking in. It hasn't detracted from my enjoyment, but now I'm really passionate that one day, shortly, each year, incremental steps will be made so that as we do have family conversations, as we do talk about things that are happening in society, I'm no longer an outsider looking in, but I can participate fully. And that's my ambition. But that being said, I know I'm not the only one. I mean, there are countless people like me who are who are married to Konkani speaking spouses or second and third generation youngsters who are living abroad. They will be in a similar position to me. And for me, that's very important that maybe we can work together and do something in that regard.
You touched upon very essential points here where in terms of learning Konkani or learning the mother tongue by the second or third generation people out there outside of India and of the Konkani people.
Yeah.
That's very important. And now you been to India for a very
so many times.
Yes. And you visit Karkala and Mangalore often.
Kochi.
I
must say good hello to Kochi as well. Don't want to forget my family and friends in Kochi.
Okay. So you must have listening to various dialects as well in Konkani.
Yeah.
And do you find it very difficult to understand the cultural nuances and the terminologies, the vocabulary of different regions altogether?
I'm aware of the difference in the linguistic evolution or change as you go from North Canada here to Mangalore down into Ernakulam and Kochi. But before I go into that and what I've spotted, maybe there's a few more things I could say about my points of interest in the wider Konkani culture. I mean, I look at it in terms of culture, in terms of people, Jana, food, Jawana and Kana. That's something that is hugely important to all of us. Devastana as well, because that is the spiritual side of society, which means an awful lot to me as well as the Basa, the language. I mean, if I can be a little anecdotal and maybe a little bit humorous.
Please.
When I'm Neapolitan Italian by cultural background, and I would never say in a million years that Italian food could ever be beaten in terms of taste and culinary excellence. But I can honestly say to you and all our viewers, and there is nothing more wonderful than Konkani cuisine. I take my hats off to all the people who have cooked wonderful Konkani meals that I've enjoyed over the many years. I don't think there's anything more enjoyable than to sit down at the table and have the plate in front of you with sheet and a dalitoy and patrado and tendle bibo curry and kismuri. Anyone who knows me knows that they're all my favorite dishes.
Wonderful.
And if you're very lucky and you come at the right time of the year, you may even get to taste ambade upkari, which is really tremendous. And to top it all off, a nice cup of coffee with some ubadi is the best.
Wonderful.
So that in a way is, but this is important in terms of language as well. If you don't know the language, and you haven't assimilated the culture, then you wouldn't be able to express that enjoyment. And conversation in Konkani society does revolve around food often.
Correct.
As a gathering round the table, brings people together. I guess next thing I would say is Devastana. First of all, I would like to say a huge thank you to the Karkal Venkatramana Devastana and the priests and the people there, who, as an outsider, not only as a speaker, but from erstwhile a religious background, they made me feel hugely welcome.
Wow.
As an individual and spiritually as well. They helped me along my spiritual journey. So without getting too religious about things, from a cultural perspective, I have tried to explain to my friends in Britain, and it's difficult to convey the enormity of the enjoyment that one can get when you sit at a samradane, and the countless number of people sitting there enjoying, exchanging their personal bits of conversation around a wonderfully prepared meal for thousands of people.
Correct.
Efficiently done, like the best multinational corporation could ever get its work done. And then to witness a karkalateru or a kartik puna, I mean, it's a wonder. and it's something that I feel hugely privileged to have witnessed and to even now participate in.
Very
As
nice.
anyone saw me at the last Samaradane in Karkal, I was there.
Yeah, very nice. Because you said that you have been already experiencing the cultural experiences as Samaradane or the food or any other people.
Yeah.
You love people more. You are a people person. You go out and speak
like
to
to think
people.
so.
Correct. So, and then you started understanding or realizing that it's important to talk in their language to
Sure.
get more involved into the culture. So, how did you start off?
Well, I started off really by, as I said, up to this point, it's really only been in the last 3 months that I've really focused and put my attention to bringing together my former or existing knowledge of Konkani. Now, where did that come from? Effectively, it came from many years of listening to people, and as someone who likes noting things down, you know, that's my nature, whether I'm at work or in private as well, when I'm learning, continuing to develop French, Spanish, Portuguese, you write down words, expressions, colloquialisms, and you build up a book, if you like, of all those facets of Konkani language. But of course that's not enough. You have to then be able to put it together syntactically, grammatically, and I've been trying to do that in the last 3 or 4 months, which is what we've been discussing lately. But essentially it's just been a collection, a compendium of anecdotes, of words, expressions that I've learned from Rupa's family, friends, wider family, people in the street who are often stop me in Mangalore and Karkala, just ask me how I'm getting on, who are you? But now, you know, to really go to the next level, that's my ambition, as I was explaining to you, that I think that needs to be formalized, and so I was trying to put that together in some rudimentary way at this present
Wonderful,
time.
wonderful. Yeah, I was going through your book, notebook which you have prepared, and
Sure.
I find it very professionally done.
Yeah.
How do you think this, going into the next levels?
Yeah, I mean, you're right about taking it to the next level, and now I'm coming at it specifically from a sort of a grammatical and structural perspective, because to learn, you need to hang your words and your expressions onto a grammatical structure.
Correct.
I had a conversation only a couple of days ago with someone, and I was saying, can you explain to me, for example, why do we say hawa bareita, and then you say hawa barele, hawe barele, but hawa chamkolo. They're both in the past tense.
Correct.
But why is one barele and then it's ami barele, tani barele? It's all the same. But when you go to chamkolo, chamkuche, it changes. So grammatically thinking, like in French and Spanish, Italian, for example, there's a reason behind it.
Correct.
But the answer I received was probably not one that I wanted to receive, but the answer was, it's usage. This is the way it is. Now that makes it a bit more difficult for an outsider coming to learn Konkani in a structured format, because if I'm not mistaken, it is largely to do with local usage, which is why, going back to your point, it changes from North Canada here, Kochi.
Correct.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, in Kochi, when you look up, you say unchar choi, but we say wairipela.
Right.
So hence the
vocabulary changes.
So to get your head round that,
Correct.
I think we now need to formalize it and to have something for people like me and others, how to approach the language, not just from expressions and words and colloquialisms, but also where there is some grammatical consistency. Let them find out about it. And of
Correct.
course there is always usage, there always is in a
Correct.
language,
Correct.
but all languages are pretty much the same in the approach to learn.
Correct. Very best example for a beginner's learning, basic language learning.
Indeed.
Notebook or the handbook of a person.
Handbook of elementary Konkani.
We would like to work with you, in the process of this, and would like to develop some more
Sure.
level of language learning materials or tools. How do you think that new generation, young generation people who are not used to speak their mother tongue, how we can bring them back to the mother tongue fold?
Well,
how we can encourage them?
Yeah, first of all, there will be an acknowledgement by anybody who's a Konkani, by birth, by family, but who doesn't speak Konkani. They will all, and I count myself in that now, you always realize that you're missing something. It's inevitable. And therefore, how you, the centre, can go about encouraging people, pull them into the Konkani speaking world, as opposed to just being Konkani practicing world, because I
Correct.
think that's the key difference,
Yeah.
is being able to advertise that there is something out there now for you to refer to go to help you start learning the Konkani language from scratch in
Correct.
some cases. And you won't be embarrassed. You're not being judged. Because often the linguistic barrier to proficiency is feeling awkward, feeling embarrassed. There's no need to be. I mean, I'm trying my best not to be embarrassed and to go over that confidence lacking hurdle. But we can do that, or rather, you can do that. If I can help in any way, I'd love to. But we can do that by being able to promote Konkani out there in the world online with incremental steps. Whether it's through videos, whether it's online questions, so you keep testing yourself about certain expressions or words, taking tests. There are a number of ways that can be done, and it's a well-trodden path learning all sorts of languages. But the real difference is Konkani is mostly, if you correct me if I'm wrong, but it's about usage as well as grammatical structure, and that's an extra challenge. But then those people like me who are experienced Konkani culture but may not be speaking Konkani, well then you've got an advantage because you are with Konkani friends and family around you. They will encourage you, they will help you.
Correct. It's a speaking community which will immerse you into a language experience.
Agreed.
You can gather the nuances or subtle expressions like that, which you have gathered much. So how do you think that it's very important to preserve a mother tongue or preserve a language for that?
Sure.
Continue to speak it. How do you think it is very important for young people to continue to speak it?
Well, before I try and answer that question, I'll look at my background as well, the Italian background, because there is Italian and then there's Neapolitan, Napolitano. So Napolitano is a dialect in Italy, not of Italian, but it's a dialect. I would call it like a Konkani. It depends on Neapolitans speaking Neapolitan, right? Because it's all about facilitating the continuity of the culture. And so if I switch over to Konkani now, what I mean by that is the same approach should be taken as well, reinforcing to children and even the parents who don't speak Konkani. Look, when you go to India especially, your experience is going to be hugely enhanced when you are able to speak Konkani at varying degrees of fluency. I mean, you don't have to aim for the stars and necessarily be fluent, but at least take those first steps. The enjoyment will be there. The respect will be there from the host community. When they see you speaking Konkani, trying to attempt, you'll find nothing but encouragement. And so the World Konkani Center that you are here, I'm here with you today. Anything that we can do together, that you can do to promote Konkani and reach out to those people will be all for the well and good.
We would like to request you to kindly join hands with us.
I will certainly join hands.
I thank you very much for respecting our mother tongue, involving yourself into the learning of the language and also showing us a path. So on a parting note, आमगेल कोंकणी लोक ये program पढ़ाईता सची, तंका तुगेलो message कसas?
In Konkani or in English?
Konkani.
Oh, in Konkani. Well, Masta gati asa Konkani ulochaka. I think that is the most important point that I can convey to anybody.
Thank you so much, Gino. It's a great pleasure to have you in our studio. आणि इतली वेळ तुम्ही प्रोग्राम पळयले आणि कोंकणी भासा तांणी कितली मोग करताची म्हूण आमकां पळयले आमचे भितर आमकां एक पाठ कसो आसा म्हळ्यार आमी आमगेल भास मुखारी व्हरनी जाल्यार आमी आमगेल भास उलयनी जाल्यार आनी कोणेय उलोवच्याक येवच्या जायना जाल्यार तो एक विशेष व्यक्ती आमगेलो लोटस आमगेलो जाल्लो जिनो ताकाय हांव ह्या संदर्भार थँक्स सांगता तुमकां इतलो वेळ पळयले तुमकांय देव बरें करूं.
थँक्यू.